Hey, thanks for dropping in. I'm just going to talk very quickly about the things I was thinking about when I chose some running shoes to start my running journey, because I'm not a big runner, as some of you may know. First thing we need to know about is my feet, because all choices of running shoes should be based off what your feet are doing. The first thing to know is that my feet are really stiff. They don't pronate that much. The midfoot doesn't move, and more importantly, most importantly, the big toe doesn't move very much at all. So when you have your foot flat on the floor, your big toe should extend up at least 50, 60 degrees. We'd love to see kind of closer to 80, so that as you go off your toes when you walk or run, your foot can come up quite vertical. My big toes only get to about maybe 20 or 30 degrees if I'm lucky, which means my foot only comes up to about there. So I need a shoe which is going to make up for that lack of movement in the big toe. So, and you can see in these, now these are Under Armour Hover Infinites. You can see that big curve there, which is also very stiff. There's very little movement in that, which means as I go over the toes, the shoe is going to protect my stiff big toe from having to deal with those forces and being forced to position doesn't want to go in. So if we put that shoe there and we just press down on the toe, you can see how easily that transfers from flat foot onto the toes and all the way off there as well. So that makes my progression over the toes that much easier and makes up for the movement I don't have in the big toe. Now these are also fairly towards the maximal end of the running shoes. There's a lot of cushion in there. 29 mil rear foot, 21 mil forefoot, which means an 8 mil drop, and it also has a bit of a curve towards the back as well. Now that helps the heel rocker, so progress from heel strike through to midfoot. We've already talked about going through onto the toes, but because my foot doesn't pronate very much, it means that my foot does not absorb very much of the impact at foot strike. So that's why I need a shoe with a lot of cushioning. 8 mils drop is moderate. I didn't want a big drop because that's going to put my big toe into a more bent position straight away, and I've not got much big toe bend to start with. And also I didn't want a flat shoe because my ankles aren't brilliant either, and the flatter the shoe, the more ankle mobility you need, or the bigger the drop on the shoe, the less ankle mobility you need. And the final point with these is they're quite stiff through the sole. You can see I can't bend that very much. Now if you compare this, so this is my work shoe. This is an Inov-8. It's very much more towards the minimal end of the spectrum. It's 10 mils, 1 centimeter all the way through, flat through there. This is the shoe I wear in clinic. This is the shoe I do all my resistance and mobility work in. It's got a little bit of a toe rocker on it. So it comes up, not as much as the Under Armour, but the difference is it's really, really flexible. So that's not going to protect my big toe very much at all. But because I'm only doing resistance workouts and some mobility work, it doesn't matter. I'm not putting much stress through my rubbish big toes compared to when I'm running. So I think that is covered most of the bases about what I was looking for in a running shoe. The other thing to say, why I chose this particular model, is it ticked all the boxes I was looking for. It's also last year's model. It was half price. And there's nothing wrong with choosing a shoe with having price as one of your factors. And that's about it, I think. The only other thing I might suggest to look at is the shape of the shoe from underneath. You can see how that is a fairly straight shape. There's a little bit of a curve this way, like that. So from there up through there. Compare that again. The Inov-8 has a little bit more of a curve. You can see how that's much more curved coming up. This is the midline, and it curves off in this direction. I wouldn't want much more of a curve in my shoe for my foot. My foot's quite a straight foot. So this is a really good shape for me. It's fairly straight. So all those things together made that a bit of a no-brainer for me, to be honest, because it ticked all the boxes and it's half the price of a comparable running shoe at current kind of this year's prices. So any questions, give me a shout. But that's my running shoes and my running feet in about 2 minutes. Cheers. Bye.